Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion. Let's take a look at a video.
Quick reminder that the only thing Christian about Christmas is going to church and pretending it also happens to be Jesus' birthday, which it wasn't.
This is 100% correct. As I've mentioned in many other videos, Jesus is very unlikely to have been born anywhere near December 25th, but that date was calculated at the beginning of the 3rd century by Christians who began with the identification of March 25th as the date of Jesus' crucifixion. And in that time period, there was a literary convention that identified the date of an important historical figure's death with the date of their birth. But for Jesus, it was identified with the date of his conception, which thus became March 25th. Measuring 9 months exactly from March 25th, you get December 25th. That is how they calculated December 25th as the date of Jesus' birth. But as this creator has said, that was not when Jesus was born.
Everything else is Pagan Yule.
So this creator is going to start with a list of 5 things that they claim are directly from Pagan Yule: Santa, mistletoe, carols, decorated trees, stockings. Mistletoe is probably the best candidate for something that was borrowed directly from Pagan Yule. Santa, there's not really a good case to make that Santa is directly borrowed from Pagan Yule. At most, we could speculate that maybe some features of Odin from Pagan Yule have influenced the development of the Santa tradition, but even that's difficult to do because the conceptualization of Santa today descends pretty directly from 2 originally anonymous poems published in English in 1821 and 1823. The first was called Santa Claus with Much Delight, and it was accompanied by 8 color illustrations. And this is the first artistic depiction of Santa in the world. And the idea that Santa's sleigh is pulled by reindeer and that Santa is dressed in red and has a big beard and all these things come directly from that poem and those illustrations. And then in 1823 we have The Night Before Christmas, originally published anonymously and then later attributed to Clement Clarke Moore. And so to say that Santa descends directly from Pagan Yule, you would need to argue that this one anonymous poet and then Clement Clarke Moore and the artist responsible for the 8 color illustrations from the first poem were all influenced directly by Pagan Yule, and there's no way to do that. They have never mentioned any such inspiration. In fact, Clement Clarke Moore said this was based on St. Nicholas and then a Dutch handyman that he knew. And so what we're left with is just things that remind people of each other. And then the argument just goes, well, this reminds me of that, so this must be the source for that. But unless you can actually show the route for this influence to have taken and means and opportunity, you can't really argue that it was taken from Pagan Yule. You just have speculation. Carols, stockings, similarly, this is just, oh, this reminds me of that. When you actually look at the historical data, you don't have a good case to make that these things that are popping up in medieval Europe and in 19th century England and America are being borrowed from Pagan Yule. It's, again, just squinting at imagery saying it reminds me of the other thing, so it must be the source of the other thing. And the decorated tree is absolutely not from Pagan Yule. That is 100% a uniquely Christian innovation that took place in a certain part of Germany in the late 15th and early 16th century CE, inspired by concepts of the tree of life, and then bringing that inside the house. So there's not really a good case to make for 4 of these 5.
Everything.
So this list says bells, advent calendar, gift giving, Yule logs, cookies for Santa, and then parenthetically altar offerings. Bells have been around for a long time. I don't know that anybody can show that the use of bells during Christmas derives from Pagan Yule. Advent calendars, absolutely not. They were invented by Lutherans in the 19th century. Gift giving, that probably goes all the way back to Saturnalia. So the celebration of Christmas with revelry and gift giving probably was borrowed from the celebration of Saturnalia, which is not associated with the winter solstice. Yule logs, 100% taken from Pagan Yule. Cookies for Santa, there are a variety of different theories about where that comes from. Nobody has any strong evidence. It's all speculation. The notion that they represent altar offerings, however, is particularly ridiculous. I don't think there are any data whatsoever that support that speculation.
everything.
So this list reads pine/holly decor, bright star, parenthetically pentagram, candles to light the longest night, garlands and wreaths. Garlands and wreaths absolutely are taken from Pagan Yule, pine/holly decor, probably as well. Candles to light the longest night. I mean, people have been using candles to light the nighttime for a long, long time. Bright star, parenthetically pentagram. I have absolutely no idea how someone is going to argue that something that's mentioned in the New Testament and has absolutely no relationship whatsoever to a pentagram is a pentagram and is derived from Pagan Yule. That is nonsensical. Finally, we have this statement. Speaking anciently, December 25th was historically attributed to the rebirth of the sun, S-U-N. Christian clergy switched it to the birth of the sun, S-O-N. Google it. This is laughably wrong because this play on words only works in English, and that didn't exist at all until over 1,000 years after December 25th had been identified as the date of Jesus' birth. I already explained where that came from. December 25th was just the observed celebration of the winter solstice, which takes place on December 21st or 22nd. The notion that it was associated with some rebirth of the sun, that the sun was thought to be dead for 3 days, that this has anything to do with the Southern Cross, a constellation that was not visible to anyone anywhere near Jesus, anywhere near the time of his birth. All that is stuff that has been made up within the last couple hundred years.